On the news, federal government plans $10 billion to increase forex liquidity and stabilize the naira. Senate Committee on Power to investigate 1.3 trillion naira owed by ministry. And APC declares Edo governorship primary inconclusive. Hello and welcome to News Now. I'm Simisola Atugun. Amid the continuous fall of the naira, the federal government says it is targeting to raise $10 billion to increase the foreign exchange liquidity. This comes after the naira fell to an all-time low of 1,850 naira per dollar at the parallel market on Tuesday. According to a statement on the official X handle of Vice President Kashim Shettima, President Bola Tinubu disclosed this on Tuesday in Abuja during the inaugural Public Wealth Management Conference organized by the Ministry of Finance. The government also disclosed plans to create millions of jobs by unlocking the value of Nigeria's vast public assets with a view to optimizing and doubling the country's gross domestic product, GDP. The national chairman of the Labour Party, Julius Abor, has been arrested by policemen in Benin City, the Edo state capital, on Wednesday on allegations of premeditated attempted murder, amongst other alleged infractions. Abor's arrest follows a petition by the LP youth leader Eragbe Afimie. Viral videos show Abor being manhandled by policemen, even as Labour Party supporters fought to prevent his arrest. The party's national spokesman, Obiora Ifo, who confirmed Abor's arrest in a statement, alleged that the arrest was to frustrate the primary process and possibly interrupt the party's participation in the governorship election. The party's national chairman has been embroiled in a crisis with the party's suspended national treasurer Oluchi Okpara, who accused Abor of financial malfeasance, forgery and embezzlement of the party's funds realized during the 2023 presidential election.
Yes, good afternoon, gentlemen of the press. I wish to confirm the arrest of the factional chairman of the Labour Party of Nigeria, Mr. Julius Abor, and I think 3 or 4 others. This has to do with a written petition that was endorsed to the AIG Zone 5 building from the Office of the Inspector General of Police in the case of the attempted murder, conspiracy, previous harm, and aggravated offences. So based on that petition, he was arrested and the investigation is ongoing. He was not arrested today. The investigation is ongoing. I think we also recovered some, they were also in possession of a firearm, I think a shotgun and 3 rounds of live ammunition. So the investigation is ongoing. He was just arrested today. So I will more details will be provided as the investigation continues.
To political matters, the All Progressives Congress APC has declared its governorship primary election in Edo State inconclusive. The National Publicity Secretary of the party, Felix Moka, disclosed this in a statement issued on Tuesday to announce the party's position on the contentious primary held last Saturday. The ruling party says a new primary will be held on Thursday to determine its flag bearer for the September 2024 governorship election in the state. Senate President Godswill Akpabio says some of the street protests against the rising cost of living in the country are sponsored. Akpabio said this following the pockets of protest in different parts of the country, with the latest on Monday in Ibadan, the capital city of Oyo State. Residents had also taken to the streets of Niger, Kano and Sokoto states to protest the prevailing economic hardship. Speaking on the floor of the Upper Legislative Chamber on Tuesday, Akpabio said the protesters are not aware of the efforts made by the Senate and the federal government to tackle the situation.
You can see a lot of sponsored protests here and there, but those people are not aware. Most of those sponsored protests are not aware of the kind of efforts being made by the Senate to tackle the situation, together with the joint management team of the federal government of Nigeria. And I must say that unverified report has it that each of the state governments In the last few months, I've received additional 30 billion from the Federal Inland Revenue Service, outside their normal allocations, from the Federation account, outside their normal allocations, to assist them in ameliorating the food situation. So we believe that every state government should utilize the funds so received towards ensuring that food is available.
Meanwhile, Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, has expressed optimism about the future of Nigeria despite the current economic challenges, assuring they would be surmounted. The Deputy Speaker, who made the remarks before the commencement of the legislative proceedings on Tuesday, added that all hope was not lost. According to Kalu, the appropriate policies have been enacted by the President Bola Tinubu's government to tackle the situation. He called for understanding amid multitude of measures being taken to address the root causes of inflation, like the streamlining of foreign exchange flows, tackling food shortages, and investment in critical infrastructure.
But remember, fellow Nigerians, true progress cannot be achieved solely through policy pronouncements. It requires the collective effort of each and every one of us. Let us rise above petty squabbles and unite in a common purpose. Let us channel our frustration into constructive criticisms, into holding ourselves and our leaders accountable, but always with the betterment of our nation as a guiding star. Let us focus on the broader canvas, on the multitude of measures being taken to address the root causes of inflation, streamlining foreign exchange flows, tackling food shortages, and investing in critical infrastructure. These, coupled with collective spirit of enterprise and perseverance, hold the key to unlocking price stability and economic growth.
Following recent resolutions by the Senate, the Committee on Power has been mandated to equally investigate the 1.3 trillion naira owed by the ministry to generating companies and $1.3 billion owed to gas companies. The Senate appealed to the federal government to continue the electricity subsidy amidst the ongoing hardships in the country and engage the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission to come up with a lasting solution to the energy billing system in the country. The legislators resolved to also investigate the operations of DISCOs to ascertain the current status of metering and their extent of compliance with relevant legal and regulatory frameworks in service delivery, as well as the release of funds by the federal government for mass prepaid metering and report findings to the Senate, among others.
I think our concern for this moment should be how to generate electricity and effectively, adequately distribute electricity. Most of the problems that we are having today, especially in the manufacturing sector of the economy, is as a result of low power. And many organizations and companies are relocating from Nigeria simply because they don't have energy to drive their organizations.
In view of the prevailing situation in our dear country, we all do not need anybody to tell us what the situation in the country is all about. The populace are facing untold hardships, and the situation in the country is anything but normal. And removal of any subsidy, not to talk of electricity subsidy, will be more than adding petrol to fire.
The idea of increasing electricity tariff at this time, due to the current cost of things across the country and the sufferings of people, and Nigerians are very worried about the following increases in products across the country, and urge the Committee on Power to work closely with the Minister of Power to ensure that the resolutions of the Senate are respected in order to ameliorate and reduce any contemplated suffering on consumers of electricity in the country.
The announcement by the federal government on intentions to remove subsidy on electricity has sparked mixed reactions among Nigerians, with some expressing concerns about the potential impact on household budgets, particularly in the face of existing economic challenges. Others, however, view it as a necessary step toward achieving sustainable development and improving the reliability of electricity supply nationwide. This report has details. The Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, says the decision of the federal government to remove electricity subsidy follows the poor supply situation in the country due to numerous issues, including outstanding subsidy debt and the mounting pressure to reform the country's energy sector and improve fiscal sustainability. According to Adelabu, Nigeria is currently indebted to the tune of 1.3 trillion naira owed to gas companies, adding that the country must begin to move towards a cost-effective tariff model. But the planned removal does not sit well with citizens. Folake Adekoye, who owns a cold room for frozen food, says the plan is ill-timed.
Things keeping going up every day by day. Like the market you buy today now, maybe you buy, for example, you buy 50,000. By the time you go back tomorrow, they will tell you 60,000, and your income is not increasing. It's still the same, and we are buying fuel every day. And this generator we are using to fuel our freezers we can't leave it till they break.
The light dey okay. We see light to ice the fridge. If you want to go sell fish, you go able to take it. But now, light don't spoil. Maybe they not remove her. If they want to remove her, not like that. You don't understand. If they want to remove something, now small.
For many years, Nigeria has grappled with the burden of subsidizing electricity, with billions of naira allocated annually to cushion the impact of high tariffs on consumers. However, the accessibility and affordability of electricity have always posed significant concerns for consumers.
We are not using light. They will maybe they will give us light 2 hours in a day. And that 2 hours in a day, by the time we buy this thing, card, we fill our this thing, it will not even up to the day that is supposed to last us. It has gone, and we did not use the light. It's just like scam.
Given the situation of the economy, industry experts also urge the government to focus more on improving the challenges of the energy sector rather than proposing the removal of subsidies.
We're talking about Nigerians who already are dealing with the high cost of petrol, the high cost of food, the increasing cost of dollar. Okay, these are the people that we should be asking this question. And when you speak to them, they'll tell you this is no more sustainable. People's salaries are still the same, but they're asked to pay for power that they don't receive. They're asked to pay more, much more for diesel. And until we start to look at the entire value chain as a system, we will not get this right. There are many interventions that are being made by the government. And I say the government is not your place to make these interventions. Step out of the way. Create regulations that will allow investors to bring in money, invest money, and make sure that they can get returns on the money that they invest.
Available generated power in Nigeria falls short of the load demand, primarily due to ever-increasing energy demand resulting from an increasing population. Experts believe it is a clarion call for diversification into other forms of renewable energy sources to alleviate the inadequacies of power generation. Simisola Adigun, TV 360 News. Stakeholders in the agricultural sector have insisted that genetic modification of food crops is not needed in Nigeria, saying that the problems with Nigeria's food production falls outside the purported scope of genetic engineering solutions. The stakeholders who spoke at the Center for Food Safety and Agricultural Research's lab said it is crucial to preserve native seed varieties, conduct research on sustainable agricultural methods, support local and indigenous farming communities, promote agroecological farming systems while educating farmers and other stakeholders in the country. Our correspondent, Sydney Okafo, has more details.
Crop diseases are expected to rise, leading to food shortage and major losses for farmers. As such, relevant technologies are required to adapt to mitigate the changes that might occur. To curb these challenges, the federal government of Nigeria has approved the use of genetically modified organisms in food crops in the country. The idea has generated controversy as speakers at the event, highlighting dangers it might present and urge caution.
The technology that is used for GMO is not certified safe. There are instances across the world in other communities, other farming nations, where there are issues of risk, health hazards, with respect to the environment, with respect to animals, and with respect to human consumption.
The truth about genetically modified crops, it's constantly making the waves all around the world. Everyone wants to be sure of what they are eating. You want to be sure that what you're eating is making you healthy. You want to be sure that what you're eating is not, bringing discomfort into your body.
In 2024, Nigeria is expected to see about 26.5 million people grappling with high levels of food insecurity, as disclosed by the federal government and its partners during the unveiling of the October 2023 Kadri Harmony analysis on food insecurity. However, stakeholders say Nigerian farmers can produce enough food with the arable lands in the country.
If you don't take the genetically modified food and you are taking your the pounded yam with your different vegetables, you are taking our fada rice with the ayamashe soup, and you are taking your gari, your fufu with edikaikon and others. I can tell you, we call it aseje migigun. You will have extra 10 to 15 years.
As a farmer for over 20 years, I know Nigeria can feed themselves. We can feed ourselves. We are feeding ourselves. But because of the policies and because of the environmental problems that we're having right now, which is mainly infrastructural problems. So it's a new terrain that we're facing in Nigeria, and if care is not taken, we're not helping the younger generations at all.
Nonetheless, stakeholders urges Nigerians to hold the government accountable and also demand the implementation of the right policies in the agricultural sector.
We must also interrogate our lawmakers who are, in a hurry to pass laws and criminalize, things that should not be criminalized, and then giving support to a practice that even nearby Uganda in East Africa, they have gone almost fully organic.
The participants urged the federal government, like their counterparts in other African nations, to outrightly ban genetically modified organisms crops because of the risks they pose to public health. Sydney Okafo, TV 360, Lagos.
Well, it's time for a break, but coming up, U.S. to impose major sanctions on Russia over Navalny's death and Ukraine war. Stay with us for details. Back, let's give a recap of our top stories. Amid the continuous fall of the naira, the federal government says it is targeting to raise $10 billion to increase the foreign exchange liquidity. This comes after the naira fell to an all-time low of 1,850 naira per dollar at the parallel market on Tuesday. The government also disclosed plans to create millions of jobs by unlocking the value of Nigeria's vast public assets with a view to optimizing and doubling the country's gross domestic product, GDP. We also told you that following recent resolutions by the Senate, the Committee on Power has been mandated to equally investigate the 1.3 trillion naira owed by the ministry to generating companies and $1.3 billion owed to gas companies. The legislators resolved to also investigate the operations of discos to ascertain the current status of metering and their extent of compliance with relevant legal and regulatory frameworks in service delivery, as well as the release of funds by the federal government for mass prepaid metering and report findings to the Senate, among others. Now, in case you missed any of our news bulletins or for more updates, you can catch us on Limex World TV and AVO TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria, or download our mobile app on Google Play Store, Huawei App Gallery and Apple Store. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. Let's now join Okoyemi Owusheni for more details, for more stories in the world of business. Over to you, Okoyemi.
Thank you, Simisola. Hello and welcome to Business News. Following the adoption of a motion sponsored by 3 lawmakers during plenary session on Tuesday, the House of Representatives has resolved to investigate the exodus of multinational companies from the country. While moving the motion, the lead sponsor, Patrick Umo, of the ruling All Progressive Congress, APC, says the continuous departure of multinational companies is a case for concern, as it could significantly impact the country's gross domestic product, GDP, hinder economic growth potential and job losses, increase poverty, and decrease government revenue and investors' confidence in the Nigerian market. Short break, and be back with Stock Market Report. Nigeria's equities market, which has been on the losing path since this week started, gained about 165 billion on Wednesday as investors saw opportunity for re-entry in value stocks that are currently priced low. Investors' interest in stocks like FBN Holdings and other top advances pushed the market to a positive close, increasing by 0.3% and leaving the market's capitalization at 55.4 trillion naira. The market breadth, however, ended on a negative note, with 11 gainers against 43 losers. FBN Holdings led the gainers with a 9.96 share price appreciation, closing at 28 naira 70 kobo, followed closely by Julie, which closed at 1 naira 94 kobo. Now, at the end of today's trading session on the Nigerian Stock Exchange (NGX), a total of 302 million volumes of shares were exchanged in 8,611 deals, corresponding to a market value of over 6 billion naira were traded. So, a switch to our Select Global stock reverses the case for Select Global stock today, as they maintain their southward movement, as global stocks slipped on Wednesday ahead of highly anticipated results from chipmaker, while the dollar saw seed as investors await minutes from the Federal Reserve last-minute policy meeting for insight into potential rate cuts, leaving the UK FTSE, the US Dow Jones, and Japan's Nikkei the bears at 0.77%, 0.16%, and 0.26%. Well, that's it on both business and stock market reports. Back to you, Simisala, for the rest of the news.
Thank you very much, Okoyemi, for that update. And on the the foreign scene, the U.S. White House says it is preparing additional major sanctions on Russia in response to opposition leader Alexei Navalny's death last week in an Arctic penal colony. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby says the U.S. had not determined how Navalny had died, but insisted that the ultimate responsibility lay with Putin. However, Russian authorities have said the cause of Navalny's death is still unknown and have refused to release his body for the next 2 weeks as the preliminary inquest continues. So far, the U.S. and its allies have sanctioned thousands of Russian people and firms and imposed a $60 per barrel price cap on Russian oil and diesel, among other measures. Well, up next is Entertainment Report on News Now.
Celebs have now debunked accusations made by Nigerian singer Julius Abor after he recently ruffled feathers during a bombshell interview with the Honest Bunch podcast, where he said his views on some musical and personal matters. On Wednesday, February 21, 2024, Tetula called out his former bandmate a bloody liar after Abor claimed that the reason why Tetula was added to their now defunct music group was because he was desperate to sing. In the same vein, the leader of the defunct group, Eddie Montana, while speaking with Daddy Freeze on an Instagram live session, debunked Abor claims regarding one of his hit songs, Shakomo, which he said he now owned. Montana said that the hit single was his, adding that he only featured Abor on it. The Cinema Exhibitors Association of Nigeria says it generated 1.2 billion as revenue across cinemas in the country in January 2024. National President Opeyemi Ajayi, who disclosed this in Lagos, said that the total views across cinemas under this period was 322,833. According to Ajayi, the highest grossing Nollywood films for 2023 includes Orisa, Ada Omodadi, Merry Men and others, and that's it. Entertainment segment on News Now. Queen Ibaningo, TV360 News, Lagos.
On sports, FIFA's Football for Schools initiative is now halfway through its ambitious mission to make football more accessible to young people by integrating football-related activities into the education system after Sierra Leone became the 107th FIFA member association to join the program. To mark the occasion, 50 physical education teachers from Sierra Leone's 16 districts met in Makeni, around 200 kilometers from the capital, Freetown, between February 5th to 7th. They subsequently put the theory they learned into practice on the final day, joined by 125 children who were ready to make the launch of Football for Schools initiative in Sierra Leone a real celebration.
And today we are here in Makeni. We are truly happy to be in Makeni because it really shows that football is global, that football is for everyone and it can reach every corner of the world.
I want to play ball in the future. It helps us how to move our body. It unites us, like when me and my friend we are quarreling. It brings us together because somewhere one day we will go and meet each other. We will discuss about a lot.
Football is very, very much important for the country as a whole and for school especially, because these young children will build them up to develop the future of the country. If they can excel well in football, it can be a boost to our country and they will represent us internationally.
And it's a wrap on our bulletin. Thank you for watching. See you next time.